Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Naughty Neighbours. Oh, they're so naughty, there's so many of them, aren't there? First up we have Loud Neighbours, Please Help, by a sunflower seedling. My boyfriend and I just moved into a new apartment in July, and we've been really loving it. It's more space, for a mostly reasonable price in a nice-ish area, with a few amenities. Our only problem is our neighbours. We are in the corner unit on the second floor, out of 3 total floors, so there are neighbours above and below us, and to one side, but not the other. The side of the apartment that our bedrooms are on the corner, so that no neighbours on that side at all. Normally, you would think that loud neighbours would be upstairs, but we are having many issues with our downstairs neighbour. I've seen them a few times and spoken in passing, and it seems to be a grandpa, a dad, and a son living there together. They're pretty standoffish. The grandpa was nice at first, but now he glares at us, probably because we had to complain about him a few times. At this point, I have spoken to the grandpa a few times and know his voice, and we've seen and heard him walking around, talking, laughing, smoking, etc. So we very much know how he sounds. I don't know if he's in the room under mine or just really loud, but we can hear extremely loud laughing, talking, and sometimes yelling at all hours of the day. This really sucks because when I'm home, it would be nice to have some peace, but during the day, I'm mostly not home, and it doesn't bother me as much, even though I still don't like it. However, it seems to be that his family never sleeps because there is sound practically 24/7. I'm a pretty light sleeper as it is, and I've been playing a sleep podcast to try and help with it, but I'm still woken up multiple times at night. Even trying to go to sleep, I can hear the talking over the sound of my podcast. Oftentimes, they are loud enough for me to hear the exact words, and there's quite a bit of profanity as well. I'm at a loss for what to do, as I have reported it to the leasing office before, and after a few instances of back and forth, they've told me that they cannot continue to ask the neighbours to keep it down when they insist it's not them. I know it is because I recognize the voice, can hear full words and phrases, and if I put my ear to the floor, it's like we're in the same room. I know it's not a wall, floor, or ceiling issue because I literally never hear from anyone else. Any of our neighbours, and sometimes if my boyfriend is in a different room in the same apartment, I can't hear him either. My boyfriend is a pretty deep sleeper, but the other day he was woken up by loud yelling about owing money and a lot of banging at 5 a.m. I somehow slept through that. Guess I was really tired that night. They also slammed the doors extremely loudly and heavily enough to shake our whole apartment, which is quite a feat because the front doors are actually very light. They don't even fully shut on their own because they're not heavy enough, if you don't pull them closed. They are generally a nuisance and loud in general. I have a couple of recordings, but the recordings obviously never sound as loud as it is in person. I slept very horribly last night after being woken up multiple times, and I'm fed up, so I am thinking about going to the leasing office in person. All other communication was via email. My friend advised me not to get the police involved if the leasing office doesn't say anything about it, since they usually don't like that. We really love this place and want to renew our lease and keep living here until we can afford a house or something. And also, the move last year drained our savings and we're still rebuilding from that. Is there any advice for what to do? I'm at my wit's end, and having months of terrible sleep is really catching up to me. I feel like a zombie half the time, and generally just more irritable and on edge of my emotions all the time, and it just really sucks in general. The leasing office advised us not to communicate with the neighbours directly, and it's not something I want to do anyway, because I do fear retaliation a bit, and they've already started to seem more hostile in general. I'm worried that complaining again would get us in trouble with the leasing office, and again, we really don't want to move again. What should I do? Well, the leasing office sounds absolutely hopeless, is what they sound. If you're going to record the neighbours, put your phone on the floor when recording. It'll pick the sound up better. Maybe get a fan in addition to playing your sleep podcast. The white noise generator, something like that. That it's not going to be loud enough to annoy them, but it should create enough ambient noise in the room that it'll dull the noise. Sounds like your boyfriend doesn't have much trouble sleeping. I'd also look into the possibility of sleep buds, see if you can be comfortable enough trying those, because the first thing here is that you're not getting enough sleep, so that needs to be addressed. You need to make sure you're getting enough rest before you address anything else, because the leasing office has made it clear that they're just not willing to deal with it. You could call the police, but you'd have to prove they're making noise of a level that would, violate the law. There's ways to do that. There's decibel meters and things. Maybe look into the possibility of that. It's probably good advice on the part of the leasing office not to contact your neighbours, because you never know how they're going to react. And you say yourself, they're already seeming a bit more hostile. I understand that you can't move right now, but I wouldn't stay there any longer than you have to, because it sounds like the people whose job it is to address problems like this are just not willing to help you. It doesn't really matter how nice the place is at that point, it's just going to get worse. I wish you both luck with it. Okay, story number 2, neighbour accusing me of theft by internal deer. Internal Deer 8887. Around Halloween, we were having the main line to our home replaced due to a leak. There were several workers in our front yard working. I ran to the grocery store, came home, had to park a block over, and walked into my home and set down a single grocery bag before walking out front with my husband and 3-year-old to wait for our 7-year-old to get off the school bus. There were easily 10 people in front of my home. Then I see a teenager on a phone looking all over the ground in front of my house. I asked if he lost something. He said a box fell off his dad's car in front of my house. I helped him look around, and then his dad pulled up. I asked the workers if they saw anything, and myself and my neighbour looked a bit. Nobody saw anything fall off. The neighbour kept looking at me and around. My son gets off the bus, and eventually we all go inside, my family. Mind you, I don't know what was in the box. Never saw that box. Never said what he lost. Cut to last night, I'm walking up my street with my husband. Neighbour is driving like a jerk, flips a U-turn and parks in front of his house, 4 down from mine. His kids get out and go in. He steps out and says, "Oh, you the headlight people?" To which I reply, "Oh, did you find them?" And then he says, "No, because you stole them." He said the neighbours have me on video. Well, they have you on video, cut and dry case. He can go to the police with that evidence. And then you can be arrested and prosecuted to the full extent of the law because he's got video proof, which he definitely has. I immediately yelled and said, if he had me on video, let's call the police out here and show them said video. We got into a back and forth shouting match. Him claiming his wife saw me pick them up. The witnesses are growing. I can keep them because they were $99. Okay, that's a lot of money. Me asking, what the hell would I need BMW headlights for? I ended up calling non-emergency and asking them to make contact and ask him to leave me alone. Cop came out and followed up with a phone call to me telling me that we both need to leave each other alone. Fucking useless. I have never spoken to this man besides the 2 times in this post. We bought our house 6 years ago. I've had 0 issues with any of my neighbors. I don't steal, do drugs, lie. Outside of white lies to my kids. So you admit it. Also, the only thing I'd judge you for would be the stealing. Do some weed, it's fine. Not that I'm encouraging it, but if it's legal in your state, have at it. I stay to myself. What people think of me is extremely important to my own health. No. We need to work on that. People suck and they can go fuck themselves. And this is eating at me. I start training for a 5K, and I walk my dog and toddler every day. You're also a poet. While I try to avoid walking in front of their house, it's bound to happen, as is your right. You shouldn't feel bad about it. If they try anything, that's on them. My anxiety kept me up all night thinking of all kinds of horrible scenarios. I hate that I'm being accused of a crime by a stupid person. I hate having drama with my neighbours. I worry that calling law enforcement out may have pissed him off. I think he started pissed off, so I don't really see you've done anything wrong here. He has his mind made up that I stole the headlights. I know I didn't. If he is making these accusations a month later, should I worry about more accusations or harassment? They live in a rental, so I only hope they move sooner rather than later. I mean, for now, if they're not saying or doing anything else, I'd avoid them. Could be that... Firstly, why the hell were the headlights on the roof? They go in front of the car, don't they? No, but really though, why were they in front of the roof? How big a box could it have been that it had to be strapped onto a roof rack? I'm calling shenanigans. They misplaced them some other way, and just you're for some reason getting blamed for it because, again, there are so many stupid... I cannot stress this enough. There are so many stupid people in this world. Hell, look at what's running my own country. I thought it at least had a brain, but it gets worse every day. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, people are stupid. Don't waste your time with them. Just go on your run, do your training, go about your business. They'll probably not try anything else, but even if they do, what are they going to do? Big man's not going to lay a finger on you, because these types never usually do. Call the police, if you need to call the police again. I'd recommend get cameras in front of your house as well, though, if you don't already have them. Just to make sure things in your home, not outside, are in your area, are monitored. Can I just slap the world? Is that okay? Story number 3. Obsessed and Fixated Nosy Neighbour by a Reasonable Double 636. Hello everyone. Hope you have never had to deal with what I'm about to describe. I'm posting because I feel exhausted, confused, and honestly shaken by a situation with my next door neighbours. I'm hoping someone out here has dealt with something similar, or can offer perspective before I honestly lose my mind. I live in a house with thin walls, so hearing occasional noise from neighbours isn't unusual. But my situation feels different. The man next door seems fixated on everything happening inside my home. I noticed him reacting to everyday sounds, the TV, footsteps, even the creak of a chair. Sometimes I'll just walk from one room to another and suddenly hear him comment or complain loudly, enough that I can clearly make it out those walls are thin. What's worse is that I've overheard him make personal, insulting remarks about me for no reason. He's a wanker, that's the reason. They're not just random complaints, they're things directed at me that feel deliberately mean-spirited. It's like he's waiting to hear something so he can respond with some nasty comment. He should try getting a life of some description. His wife sometimes joins in, or she'll respond to him in ways that make me feel like they're having conversations about me through the walls. The dynamic between them feels strange and honestly uncomfortable. Well, like attracts like, you know. There have been moments where it sounds like he's listening in on my private conversations, or reacting when I'm talking quietly inside my own home, as if my normal speech is triggering him somehow. I don't know if the acoustics of the place just carry more than I realize, or if he's intentionally paying attention. Either way, it feels intrusive and unsettling. The only thing that was revealed is that he's been lying about the details of his life, lied about being part of a company, and it turned out that he was unemployed, and another neighbour who felt empathy for us shared that he likely had been cheating on his wife. I generally do not care about that kind of gossip, but it confirms his lack of boundaries and bad character. Why does his wife allow him to berate me so much? And what is he getting out of this? I've tried coping the best I can, because moving out is not a possibility. Running white noise in multiple rooms, soundproofing part of the wall, changing where I sit or sleep. Ignoring it, but it's draining. It's affecting my mood, my peace, and the basic sense of privacy in my own house. My biggest question is this: has anyone else dealt with a neighbor who seems overly tuned into your life, reacts to every sound, or throws personal insults from the other side of the wall? What actually helped you get your sanity back? I'm not trying to escalate anything or start drama. I just want to know how other people navigated this kind of bizarre, invasive behavior. Did you document it, report it, improve soundproofing, set boundaries somehow? Or did you find a way to detach mentally so it stopped consuming your day? Any advice or stories would really help. I'm tired of feeling like someone else's instability is dictating the atmosphere of my home. Thanks to anyone who listens to this. Right, well, one option could be to see how well, this is only if you own the home, if not you'd need to go on to your landlord, to see how well the walls are insulated, because it doesn't sound like it's much, if any at all. I'd be surprised if it's up to code. That might help things a bit on that side. Slapping your neighbor repeatedly about the face. No, we're not doing violence. Okay. Non-violent solutions. Leave true crime documentaries on at an acceptable but loud enough volume that he can't help but hear them. Then he'll think he probably shouldn't talk about you too much. He hears talk of murders and stabbings and things all the time. I'm only half joking about that one. It would certainly cause them concern. Make them think you're the crazy one, but no, it's just not a healthy attitude to obsess over a stranger's life to any degree like that. I mean, even if you were a celebrity, it'd be weird. Perhaps you're a celebrity to him. As for why his wife's enabling it, I don't know. Maybe he moans at her a lot, and him whinging about you gives her a break. Hard to tell what their dynamic is. I wouldn't really care if I were you. It doesn't really matter what's going on between them. The problem is... See, I've got to wonder, is this guy so dense that he doesn't realize if he can hear you, you can hear him? I mean, I'd be tempted just to yell at him, I can fucking hear you. Though I'm not sure that would actually solve anything. It sounds like you're doing all good and positive things with the white noise generators and such, you know, blocking out as much of their nonsense as possible. But unless you want to wear headphones all day, I don't really see how it's going to help. That might help for part of the time. Because, I mean, I wear headphones all the time anyway. These ones, actually. They're also noise cancelling, but you don't live alone, so that's not really an ideal solution, but it would give you a little bit of relief, at least for brief moments. Hopefully they move out eventually, because if he's shagging someone else, it's only a matter of time before his wife gets fed up with it. Or kills him. Story number 4. Elderly Nightmares Next Door by Busy Reporter 4251. I live in an apartment building which is usually very quiet, all except the neighbours directly behind us who are clearly elderly and seem to be in a semi-abusive relationship or something. They scream and shout at each other daily, literally every single day. The elderly man particularly is so loud each day that they have the same routine, and maybe it's that which drives me mad. They seem to be awake throughout the night. On occasions, when I've gotten up at 2 a.m. or 5:30 a.m., their TV is on. They're awake because I can hear them moaning and yelling at each other. The volume of the TV is insanely high. They watch the same 2 vintage TV shows all day, every day, so it must either be on a streaming site or on DVD. Whichever shows they are, they have 1,000,000 episodes each, or they just rewatch episodes in a loop endlessly. Sometimes they have the news or whatever on, but right after that ends, the shows begin again. The theme tunes of both shows are obnoxious and irritating beyond belief. For one show, the theme tune plays twice during the opening and twice during the end of the show. It's a very long chorus that sounds like a boys' chorus. They reach extremely high, screechy notes throughout, like glass-shattering notes. It may sound dumb, but imagine hearing that tune 4 times per show, and they watch multiple shows all day and through the night. It drives us nuts and sets my teeth on edge. We can hear their show over ours, and throughout the day, while we both work from home, it's unavoidable. We somehow don't fancy blasting music through headphones for 8+ hours to compensate. At least 4 times a day, they sound like they're rearranging their furniture. Or that a large chair or table is parked in front of a door, so that you first hear the drag and scrape of the furniture, and then a heavy slam of whichever interior door they're using. The grossest part is that their bathroom seems very near our wall too, and during the day and night we hear what sounds like a damn bucket of water being poured into a toilet. We don't hear this with any other of our neighbours, not even ones directly above us, just them. It's a proper mood killer to cuddle on the couch, lean in for a kiss, or sit at the dining table for dinner, and then hear someone hose-piping it into a toilet bowl. It goes on for ages too. I think we can give them a pass on that one. Not the rest of the noise, though. We sort of sit there awkwardly, waiting for whichever one of them it is to finish. Weirdly, we never hear a flush, oh dear, or water running from a tap. Wash your hands, you old codger! Though I'm sure they must do that. I hope so. Not everyone does. When they vacuum, they have a unique method of firstly making sure it's almost midnight, and then using the nozzle of the vacuum to shunt furniture around the room, instead of vacuuming around or beneath furniture. It's actually kind of against the law to make loud noises that late at night. Might be worth looking into for you. Or maybe, move a table or a chair first and then clean that spot. Much better, obviously, to scrape and shove furniture in a big circle. Like I said, once or twice wouldn't bother us. It's just that these elderly neighbours seem to make constant and very antisocial noise all day and night. I appreciate that they may have no life and no family, but geez, have consideration for others around you. We always make sure our own TV is turned down, and we turn it down even more if a particularly noisy scene comes up, like shooting or loud music. We close doors quietly and only vacuum in daylight hours. Some people seem to not only be unself-aware, but make it their life's mission to be as loud and antisocial as possible. Surely people know that their TV is cranked up to the max, others can hear it. Depends how old they are, they might be hard of hearing. Surely they know that watching it at 4 a.m. will disturb everyone living around them. They should probably invest in headphones, to be fair. I feel like elderly neighbours get a free pass to irritate others, using their age as an excuse. I mean, really, they've just had more years to learn to shut the fuck up. Others also defend them, assuming they're either senile or just not aware that maximum TV volume is loud. Well, I would have a word with them about the TV volume, because nothing you can do about the arguing. They clearly enjoy arguing, and some couples are like that. They enjoy arguing and bickering with each other. It's weird, I don't know why, but that's what they do. The TV volume seems to be the biggest issue for you here. I'd have a word. Just say, hey, just so you know, we can hear your TV going constantly at night. Could you please turn the volume down, or consider subtitles, or maybe headphones? And do it like that. I would personally, I talk to them in person. A note. Well, I've done stories where people have left a note, but you can definitely infer the worst possible tone from a note when it's not intended. But you live there, you know what the atmosphere in the building's like, you know whether or not it would be a good idea to actually just have a bit of a chat with them and see what's what. Also the vacuuming and the late night hours, that's got to stop. That's just not acceptable. There's a certain cutoff, usually about 11 p.m. most places. I know where I live, for making loud noises, I wouldn't even dream of running the vacuum at that time. Unless, in rare circumstances, I think I did once or twice, I'd broken a glass. Didn't want to get glass up my feet, so I swept up everything I could, then I ran the vacuum around very quickly for like 10 seconds just to clear the area. I think words need to be had, and that's my advice. Don't think you asked for advice, but that's mine. And the fifth and final story today is Neighbour Broke In by Rob New 222. I live in a really quirky small neighborhood in the South. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm just not really a southern friendly kind of person, and I don't really like having neighbors or people on my property. Same. With that being said, my neighborhood is really small. Like street parking, we share a middle yard small. Last summer, I left my dog in his kennel, which some people call a crate. Think a plastic crate with enclosed sides and a latch door. Well, I went 2 minutes up the road to a fitness class. When I came home, the neighbor who had just moved in was waiting on my porch looking all nervous and scared. I was immediately annoyed and didn't appreciate being bombarded by someone I don't know when I just got home. She proceeds to tell me she heard screaming coming from the house, so she somehow unlocked my back gate, a privacy fence, and went into my backyard to look in my windows. She claims my dog's mouth was stuck on the kennel door and was bleeding and screaming. She then tells me she got some stuff out of my shed to pry open, it's nice she's admitting to the crime, pry open my window and climbed in. I hope this ends with her getting arrested. She left a bowl of water in my dog's kennel, which I don't do due to fear of bloat and the fact that my dog has issues swallowing. And that also means she wasn't just in my enclosed door back bedroom, where his kennel was in. She walked around my house and opened my cabinets to look for cleanup supplies and a bowl. Edit: my dog has no visible injuries. There was no evidence of cleanup from blood or any injury like she claimed. My dog's kennel was also covered in feces due to the fact that he was freaked the fuck out over this lady doing this. He was all of the way in the back trying not to touch the spilled water and the poop. No evidence of blood. I go in my house to check on my dog after she tells me this. I come out and very politely say next time she hears screaming to call the cops. At first, I'm like, this is not the normal reaction you would have to somebody screaming. And then she was like, well, I would hope that you would do the same thing if you heard something coming from my house. To which I very quickly retorted, actually, no, I would just call the cops. Like, 1, you don't know me. 2, crazy you thought my dog wouldn't bite you? 3, I literally wasn't home. Ever since then, try to make sure I avoid this neighbor at all costs. I will oh no, don't wave at it. But I don't engage in conversations. I don't like being outside when she's outside, etc. Fast forward to today. I'm home from work and I'm sitting in my house with my robe on, decompressing after a long day at work. Doom scrolling, having a great time, when I hear my door being knocked on. I don't answer because I'm not expecting anyone and I don't care. I proceed to hear knocking 3 more times before I peek through my blinds to see who is bothering me and causing my dogs to bark. I see her and I ignore it, I don't care. She knocks again, and this time, hello? Like I have some obligation to come to the door? Fuck. So I end up ignoring her still and getting in the shower because that's my right. I'm in the shower for 15 minutes, and she knocked again. I still didn't answer because now I'm naked and preoccupied, but literally WTF. I'm not really looking for advice, but I'm also like, what would you do? I'd have called the police on her the first time she admitted to a crime. Am I insane for this? And I really just wanted to vent because that made me mad as hell. And just to reiterate, my dog was not injured. She said there was blood everywhere, but there was no evidence of blood, like no towels, no rags, nothing in my trash in the outside dumpster, nothing. My dog also had 0 visible lacerations or cuts on his face or his nose, in his mouth, and there was nothing on his coat either. That's because she made that up as an excuse in case anyone saw her break into your house. I mean, I'll give my standard advice. Cameras. I'd check the window locks if I were you, if they're that easy to pry open that psycho neighbours can just get in your house whenever they like. I wouldn't trust it. She won't do it again. Quite frankly, being that free with other people's homes, I'm surprised she hasn't been shot. That brings us to the end of today's video. Big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories, very much appreciated. If you would like to support the channel, you can sign up for my Patreon page, which gets you early access to the videos on Monday at once. That's linked down in the description. There's also a link to my merchandise store on Teespring, as well as my Discord server and my Threads account. And if you need to contact me, send that to kingofthecities@gmail.com. If you want a birthday shout-out, anniversaries, anything like that. If you have business inquiries, or what's the other thing we do? There was a third thing. I'm completely blanking on it. What else do people do with emails? Oh yeah, send me spam email that I'm going to immediately delete because I'm not stupid. No, there was something else. What do shout-outs, business inquiries. Oh yes, if you'd like to send in a story. There we go. It's been one of those days. Actually, it wasn't a bad day. I discovered just how fit I've gotten with all the extra exercise I'm doing. I was able to go up a really steep hill on my bike, and I'm still proud of it. 44 years old and getting excited about that kind of thing. It's silly, but it's amazing just how much you get back when you start taking better care of yourself. I should probably go. I've got another video to record. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.